Hello and welcome to CVR News Network. You're watching CVR English and these are the details. The 5 Thai hostages freed this week after 15 months in captivity in Gaza spoke with Thailand's Prime Minister via video call on Saturday as they recuperated in Israel before their return home. A high-level Thai delegation, including Foreign Minister and the Army Chief of Staff, visited the released hostages to oversee their well-being and facilitate their repatriation. The Thai government has been actively coordinating their return and ensuring necessary medical, psychological support following their prolonged ordeal.
ผมว่ามนุษย์นะครับมันอยู่ด้วยกันด้วยความเมตตา
Look at me.
ครับผมสวัสดีครับ
สวัสดีท่านนายก
ผบ.ท่านพูดนะคะแล้วก็ทุกท่านค่ะ
สวัสดีท่านนายก
เชิญเลยค่ะแล้วก็
รู้สึกดีใจแล้วก็ปลื้มใจเป็นอย่างมากเลยครับก็กราบขอบพระคุณทุกคนทุกท่านเป็นอย่างสูงครับครับผม
อยู่ในนู้นไม่รู้ว่าเสียงอะไรครับ
สำหรับผมนะครับคืนแรกก็เหมือนกันครับกว่าจะได้หลับก็6 โมงเช้าต้องรอให้ร่างกายเหนื่อยไปถึงได้หลับ
จะโฆษณาหรือทั้งสิ้นไปเพราะว่าเป็นห่วงแล้วเป็นห่วงมานานแล้ว
ครับ
จะได้เห็นความยินดีนะคะนั่นเป็นเรื่องที่ดีมาก
ๆว้าว thank you ว่าคือผมว่ามนุษย์นะครับมันอยู่ด้วยกันด้วยความเมตตา
Look at me.
ครับผมสวัสดีครับ
สวัสดีท่านนายก
ผบ.ท่านพูดนะคะแล้วก็ทุกท่านค่ะ
สวัสดีท่านนายก
เชิญเลยค่ะแล้วก็
รู้สึกดีใจแล้วก็ปลื้มใจเป็นอย่างมากเลยครับก็กราบขอบพระคุณทุกคนทุกท่านเป็นอย่างสูงครับครับผม
อยู่ในนู้นไม่รู้ว่าเสียงอะไรครับ
สำหรับผมนะครับคืนแรกก็เหมือนกันครับกว่าจะได้หลับก็6 โมงเช้าต้องรอให้ร่างกายเหนื่อยไปถึงได้หลับ
จะโฆษณาหรือทั้งสิ้นไปเพราะว่าเป็นห่วงแล้วเป็นห่วงมานานแล้ว
ครับ
จะได้เห็นความยินดีนะคะนั่นเป็นเรื่องที่ดีมากๆ
ว้าว thank you ว่าคือผมว่ามนุษย์นะครับมันอยู่ด้วยกันด้วยความเมตตา
Look at me.
ครับผมสวัสดีครับ
สวัสดีท่านนายก
ผบ.ท่านพูดนะคะแล้วก็ทุกท่านค่ะ
สวัสดีท่านนายก
เชิญเลยค่ะแล้วก็
Syria's interim president Ahmed al-Shara arrived in Saudi Arabia for his first international visit since the ousting of Bashar al-Assad last year. The visit marks a significant step in Syria's diplomatic re-engagement with regional powers following the years of conflict and political upheaval. Al-Shara is expected to hold talks with Saudi officials on rebuilding Syria's war-torn infrastructure, fostering regional stability and strengthening economic and security cooperation. His visit also signals efforts to gain broader international recognition for Syria's transitional government as it works towards restoring governance and stability in the country. U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio arrives at Panama's presidential palace to meet President Jose Raul Molino as he looks for how to follow up the President Donald Trump's extraordinary threat to seize the Panama Canal. On the other side, protesters gather outside Panama's presidential palace as U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio meets with President Jose Raul Molino to press President Trump's demand that the U.S. to take back control of Panama Canal.
Recibimos en el Palacio Presidencial a Su Excelencia Marco Antonio Rubio, Secretario de Estado de los Estados Unidos, y es recibido por el Canciller de la República de Panamá, Su Excelencia Javier Martínez Hacha. Permitimos este saludo a la prensa, por favor.
¡Saludo!
Le permitimos a ambos avanzar a esta agenda oficial.
¡Para el imperialismo yanqui! Ustedes, por favor, respeten nuestro himno. Gringueros, basura. El pasado, el calvario y la cruz, al combate de sublime canción. El pueblo indignado no puede... Quieren robarse la plata del seguro como se roban la plata del canal. ¡Sin lucha! ¡Sin lucha! Que aglutina a su organización. Con ustedes, compañeros de la Federación de... ¡Esta patria no se vende! ¡Esta patria se defiende! ¡Esta patria no se vende! ¡Esta patria se defiende! Estados Unidos está perdiendo su fuerza en el mundo. Que en la calle va a demostrar que la soberanía del pueblo panameño...
In the joint press meet, U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio on Sunday warned Panama's President Jose Raul Molino that Washington will take measures necessary if Panama does not immediately take steps to end what President Donald Trump sees as China's influence and control over the Panama Canal. Molino, after talks with the top U.S. diplomat in Panama City, signaled that he would review agreements involving China and Chinese businesses and announced further cooperation with the U.S. on migration, but reiterated that his country's sovereignty over the world's second busiest waterway is not up for discussion.
Such an honor to welcome you to your Embassy Panama and your embassy team. Thank you.
Thank you so much. You guys are great. Thank you. Thank you. Are you guys mad that they made you come on a Sunday? You would rather be to come on, be honest. Huh? Well, I'm happy I got to meet all of you. There might be a future Secretary of State, maybe a future President sitting here in the front row, and right? Anybody want to be President or Secretary of State? You do. Here we go. Who's ready? What's your name? Teo. Teo for President. Well, they're giggling. You got to work on them. They're giggling over here. They're not. You guys are going to vote for Teo? You're going to vote for Teo, right? Unless you're the one running against him, right? Yeah. Well, you guys will figure that out and we'll watch. But this is really why we do it at the end of the day. I mean, if you talk about the work that you guys are doing here, it really is about what the world is going to look like when they're our age, when they're in the positions we're in now, whatever their dreams are. And so I want to start by thanking you with my appreciation. I said this my first day on the job, and I said that of all the agencies out there was none I would rather be in charge of and lead. Because we truly have, think about this, we have the greatest diplomatic corps in the history of the world. I don't think the Romans were very good at it. I think we do it better than anyone's ever done it in the world. And protecting not just our interests, and our interests are obviously the national interests of the country and of the United States and the people we represent back home, that you represent back home. But in many ways, it's intertwined with the interests of the countries in which we serve. We've learned over time, the more prosperous, the safer other countries are, the safer and more prosperous it makes us. This is a great example. You referenced the ups and downs of the relationship. in a country that was born in many ways here as a result of the interests of the United States, but over time the relationship had its ups and downs, and today it's one of our strongest economic partners, certainly in the hemisphere, and an important catalyst for so much trade and commerce that happens in the United States that affects and impacts so many people, both going out and coming in, and so it's a great place to come visit first. Plus I was told, I said, I want to go to a place, where do you want to go on your first visit? I said, I want to go to a place that's warm. I want to go to a place where they speak Spanish because, I'm bilingual, so that was a great opportunity. And I want to go to a place where we have this great staff, and then obviously we have great staff everywhere, but so you got to go to Panama City. So here we are, and we're happy to be with you guys. I want to thank everyone. I want to thank those who keep us safe, whether it's diplomatic security, obviously our Marines, who do an excellent job, everyone who comes down and supports us and keeps us safe and allows us to do the work we do on a daily basis. I want to thank the extended families. When you serve abroad and in these missions, some of you have been in multiple places where perhaps you're not able to bring your families, but this is one where you can, and this is an incredible experience for them. And I think what's most important, and I always want to point out too, is for a lot of people around the world, maybe a lot of people in Panama, you're the first thing they know about America and how we treat them and how we interact with them. You are the face of the United States. You are the voice of the United States in so many ways, and that is so critical to our country. And everywhere we go in the world, we hear what a positive relationship we have because of that. I also want to thank our locally employed staff. These are men and women who are from here for work for us. We have any here today? ¿Hay alguien aquí de Panamá que trabaja con nosotros?
Anyone here from Panama who works with us?
It would be impossible for us to do the work we did without you. Sería imposible trabajar sin.
It would be impossible to work without you.
I've heard there's a rumor, I don't know if this is true, that we have two people. I don't know if they're here today. It's Sunday. I'm sorry to bring you guys on a Sunday, but at least it's not Super Bowl Sunday. So, and there's some people here that I've told have been with us for 50 years. 50 years. Where? Mabel. Camarena. Usted es Mabel, 50 años.
You're Mabel, 50 years.
So, Mr. Secretary, it is such an honor to welcome you to your Embassy Panama and your embassy team. Thank you.
Thank you so much. You guys are great. Thank you.
Democratic Republic of Congo witnessed massive casualties amid fighting with Rwanda-backed rebels. Reportedly, 773 people were killed as the fight broke out in the Congo's largest city of Goma and its vicinity. As the Rwanda-backed M23 group controls most of Goma in the Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo, thousands of people who had settled in camps for internally displaced people on the outskirts of the city say they have no choice but to head back home. We carry our burdens on our backs, living in constant fear without peace, says one of the victims.
Roads are blocked and the airport can no longer be used for evacuation or humanitarian efforts. M23 has declared the airspace over Goma closed. In other words, we are trapped.
Lakini huwezi kuniambia mtu kiongozi wa
Mesdames et messieurs de la presse, la République démocratique du Congo traverse l'une des périodes les plus sombres de son histoire récente, marquée par une crise sécuritaire d'une gravité alarmante à l'est de notre pays. Depuis des années, les populations congolaises subissent les effets dévastateurs d'une agression planifiée et systématique menée par les forces de défense du Rwanda, RDF, et leur supplétif M23. en violation flagrante des principes du droit international et des engagements pris dans le cadre du processus de paix.
The escalating conflict and deteriorating situation in Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo are a grave concern to the people and governments of East Africa. Noting the worsening humanitarian crisis exacerbated by ongoing military actions, including the closure of airspace in Goma, I call for the immediate and unconditional cessation of hostilities.
Aucun centimètre de la terre congolaise ne sera cédé aux ennemis du peuple congolais et le président de la République, Félix Antoine Tshisekedi, reste intransigeant quant
Flooding is one of Australia's most destructive natural disasters, ranking second only to the heat waves in terms of human fatalities. Between 1900 to 2022, floods were responsible for approximately 20% of all deaths caused by natural hazards in the country. The impact of floods varies depending upon the region, with low-lying and coastal areas being particularly vulnerable. Heavy rainfall, tropical cyclones and sudden storm surges often lead to flash floods, which is happening now in Australia's coastlines. Infrastructure and agriculture are heavily affected, and Australia now is seeing the deadliest floods in Queensland and New South Wales, where entire towns have been submerged, leading to mass evacuations. In addition to fatalities, flooding results in significant economic losses with damage to homes, businesses and public services. Government agencies and emergency response teams work to mitigate the risk through improved drainage systems, flood warning alerts and better urban planning. However, with climate change intensifying extreme weather events, the frequency and severity in flooding in Australia are expected to rise, making preparedness and response efforts even more critical. Over 150,000 people have gathered in Berlin to call Germany's other political parties not to cooperate with the far-right AfD. It comes after the conservative CDU voted with the AfD to pass the motion in parliament. Critics say it broke a long-standing convention in German politics against working with the far-right. On Saturday, a similar march in Hamburg drew some 220,000 people. The AfD projected to poll strongly in German federal elections later this month. Palestinians began returning to northern Gaza Strip on Monday amid a fragile ceasefire on a 15-month war that has ravaged the enclave and displaced almost 2 million Gazans. Some 650,000 of them from the north. Many have been displaced multiple times. Hundreds of thousands of Palestinians streamed into Gaza's most heavily destroyed area on Monday after Israel opened the north for the first time since the early weeks of the war with Hamas, a dramatic reversal of their exodus 15 months ago.
لا بس انا
معليش روح شوف الناس اللي قاعدين بيستغلوا لا ترقم شيء
President Donald Trump said Sunday that Americans could feel some pain from the emerging trade war triggered by his tariffs against Canada, Mexico and China, and claimed that Canada would create to exist without its trade surplus with the United States. The trade penalties that Trump signed Saturday at his Florida resort caused a mix of panic, anger and uncertainty and threatened to rupture a decades-old partnership on trade in North America.
A little pain, and people understand that, but long term, the United States has been ripped off by virtually every country in the world. We have deficits with almost every country, not every country, but almost. And we're going to change it. It's been unfair. That's why we owe $36 trillion. I'm speaking with Prime Minister Trudeau tomorrow morning, and I'm also speaking with Mexico tomorrow morning. And I don't expect anything very dramatic. We put tariffs on. They owe us a lot of money, and I'm sure they're going to pay. They don't take our cars, they don't take our farm products, they take almost nothing. And we take everything from them, millions of cars, tremendous amounts of food and farm products. So the UK is way out of line, and we'll see the UK, but European Union is really out of line. UK is out of line, but I'm sure that one, I think that one can be worked out. But the European Union it's an atrocity, what they've done. Secretary of State Rubio is in Panama right now, and we're talking about the Panama Canal. What they've done is terrible. They violated the agreement. They're not allowed to violate the agreement. China's running the Panama Canal. That was not given to China. That was given to Panama foolishly, but they violated the agreement, and we're going to take it back, or something very powerful is going to happen. USAID, run by radical lunatics, and we're getting them out, and then we'll make a decision. We may have short-term.
And that's the end of the World 360. Stay tuned to CVR News English.